Hey guys, welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill, Jay Miller if you like. So just want to get into some things I'll be looking for in the preseason game tomorrow with the Cowboys. Thing number one, I'll be looking for is Cooper Beebe. I want to see if he's able to apply some more pressure to Brock Hoffman with another good outing this week. I actually for him to be a little bit better. The Raiders do say they're going to play their starters, so this won't be like last week with the Rams where they were playing a lot of their second and third unit. It'll get a good chance for the Cowboys to have a look at Cooper Beebe against another team's first unit. The Raiders do have some big boys up front. Tyler Guyton's going to have some trouble with Aiden Hutchinson, I assume. If he doesn't, man, that'll be the news coming out of that game. But just looking for Cooper Beebe to step up and see how he does controlling the middle of that defense. Also making some of those line calls at the line of scrimmage, snapping and getting into the defensive tackle or whoever's lined up, next to him, helping out other guys, getting some push in the run game. So just looking for all of that. I briefly mentioned it, but you can guess my second one's going to be Tyler Guyton. I want to see how he holds up against Aiden Hutchinson. I want to see how he passes off some of the stunts and twists to whoever's lining up next to him. I don't think we're going to see Tyler Smith really lining up next to him. We're probably going to see, Awesome Richards or TJ Bass or Shipley or Hoffman or one of those guys lining up next to him, and the other, whoever is not lining up next to him probably be on the other side. But I just want to see how he operates, against somebody like Aiden Hutchinson out in space, seeing if he can get some hands on him, seeing if he can block him well, and seeing if he can hold up and give, Trey Lance or Cooper Rush some time to get to the top of their drop and kind of make a good read and get the ball out. My third guy will be Trey Lance. I'll be looking for him to hopefully take a step forward from last week's game. All in all, I think last week's game was up and down, but it wasn't anything unexpected considering it was his first game action in, they said, roughly 18 months. So that's a long time to not see a game situation and then, be expected to go out there and, fire on all cylinders. I think we got mostly what we expected last week. I wanted him to have a touchdown drive or two. There were a couple of opportunities for that. He missed them. I'd like to see this week maybe him connect with some of those guys that he missed last week and stay in the pocket, make the throws, give his guy a chance. Don't necessarily be so concerned with, oh man, I don't want to throw an interception here. Everybody's going to be talking about me. Just cut the ball loose. When you get to the top, trust what you're seeing. Let it go. That's what I'll be looking for from Trey Lance. Also, I'll be looking for from the running backs to see who kind of takes the reins as RB4. I'd like to see the Cowboys maybe run it a little bit more this week than they did last week. I know they have Trey Lance dropped back 41 times, probably because he hadn't seen much action in so long that they wanted him to kind of get a feel for constantly dropping back, reading the defense, and throwing the ball. This week, I'd like to see it a little more balanced because I want to see who's going to be that fourth running back. I didn't see Nathaniel Pete get too many carries last week. I saw Snoop Connor get a couple of carries last week, but not a ton. So I'd like to see some more of those guys. I'd like to see Malik Davis get some carries as well up in there. We're probably not going to see Zeke at all. We probably won't see Rico Dowdle at all, but everybody else, Hunter Lipke, throw him out there. Deuce Vaughn, throw him out there. Like let's try to run the ball, 30 times tomorrow night and see what our run game looks like. Not only from the running back standpoint, but see if some of those offensive linemen are opening up holes and giving the running backs a chance. It's going to be hard to evaluate the running backs you have if you don't give them carries in the preseason games. Likewise, it's going to be hard to evaluate how good your offensive line is if you're not running the ball in these preseason games. The pass sets, fine. We get it. The NFL is a passing league. You're going to be passing the ball more than you're going to be running the ball most weeks. But I'd like to see if we're at least capable of running the ball and if we can throw out a balanced attack there. And by balance, it doesn't necessarily mean 25 passing plays and 25 running plays. By balance, I mean running enough to keep the defense on its heels and to not show your hand as much so the defense can't just tee off on whoever the starting quarterback is. On the defensive side, of course, I'll be looking for Mozzie Smith, seeing how he takes a step in game 2. I actually thought he had a pretty good game in game 1. I'd like to see him get a little bit more reps, maybe, instead of the first series or two, maybe the whole first quarter. I think at the end of the first quarter last week, the Cowboys had 2 possessions and the Rams had 3 possessions. So maybe the first quarter and a half, get him 3 defensive series and then get him out of there. But I'd like to see where as the half goes on, does he continue to have good technique? Does he continue to have push, or does some of his mechanics start to break down? I'd like to see a little more Maris Leofau this week as well. Last week he had an up and down game, mostly good though. I mean, he's a rookie. There's nothing you can really say there. But I do want to see if he's not guessing as much this week, if he gets to fill the hole correctly. We won't see Eric Kendricks. We probably won't see Demarion Overshown, considering he's been dealing with a hip injury. So they're going to play it cautious there. Damone Clark's been dealing with a knee soreness, I believe. So they're probably going to play it cautious there. So I'd like to see Maris Leofau get in there. We're going to see Willie Harvey, even though I think he's probably on the outside looking in at this point. But just kind of see how those linebackers play. Buddy Johnson's been looking pretty good in practice, so I'd like to see how he's going to look in the game. Also on defense, I'll be looking at the human seatbelt, Carson, see how he looks after a week of practice and getting some game reps. If he's a little bit better with his coverage, I know he was targeted a ton in the preseason game, and that probably was designed, just like the Rams and Cowboys talked before their joint practices about certain things that they want to see. I find it hard to believe that these coaches don't always talk about kind of what they want to see too in a preseason game. Not necessarily telling the other team how to play against them, but maybe giving a tip like, hey, Sean, I'd like to see you target my rookie cornerback just a little bit more than normal. We want to kind of see how he, goes, how he handles that. And Sean maybe going, hey, Mike Zimmer, I'd like to see a little bit more of that mugging the A-gap or some of these defensive disguises that you guys do, just to kind of help my guys get ready for that in the season as well. So I think, as far as this game, I don't know if the Cowboys and Raiders have had a ton of discussions, but they probably will. And I'd like to see how Kalen Carson kind of, steps up his game a little bit and see if he is a little more sticky in coverage this week than last week. I'd also be looking at Booth because he's a new addition. Now he's had a week of practice under his belt since the trade, so I think he's going to get a lot of run in this game, and I'd like to see what he does in coverage as well. See if he's a little bit of an upgrade over Nashawn Wright or not, and see if he's actually got a chance at making the Cowboys roster. I'd also like to see this week the Cowboys return some more of those kickoffs. It looked like last week, the Rams just kind of kicked it into the end zone most times. Same with the Cowboys. Wasn't many returns on either side. I'd like to see the Cowboys, return maybe 2 or 3 kicks. Nothing crazy. I know if they're returning kicks, that usually means the other team is scoring. So, but it is preseason. We're not concerned really about the outcome. We're more so concerned about getting a look at certain players, certain things, certain scheme fits, because most of the guys that you're going to see play tomorrow are not guys that are going to make the team at all. They might make the practice squad, but, there's 90 guys here roughly, and with the practice squad, there's about 70 slots, give or take a couple. I know we have a Daxon who has the NFL Beyond Borders designation, so he doesn't really count as a roster spot. So there could be 71 roster spots. So, most of the guys you're going to be seeing play, they're not going to make the team. But I still would like to see some of these special teams plays play out. I want to see the Cowboys actually not kick it in the end zone so they can cover a little bit. I like to see how that goes, because a lot of the fringe roster guys that we've been talking about, like the Booths of the world, like the Kalen Carsons of the world, even though I think his spot's pretty secure, like the Buddy Johnsons, they're going to make their name on special teams. That's how you carve out a role for yourself. That's how you get on the roster, and then hopefully from there you can, move on up into a spot and get a chance in a rotation. But the other part of that is, if you're a great special teams player, like we see with CJ Goodwin, you can carve out a nice 10-year, 12-year NFL career if you're awesome on special teams. Every team needs it, and every team is always looking for it. So we need somebody to carry that mantle when CJ Goodwin is done. He's been here for a while. He's getting up there. So I'd like to see if there's some guys there that are ready to take that next step. Also, I want to see some of the receivers get a chance to make some plays. Last week, we had a couple of receivers run open, and either Trey Lance was running for his life because of what the offensive line was or wasn't doing, or what he wasn't seeing. or he wasn't hitting him. He was dropping back to the top of his route and not trusting what he was seeing. So I'd like to see progress this week from him, and in turn, that'll let us get a better look at some of our receivers. That'll let us get a better look at Jalen Cropper or Tyron Billy Johnson or Racey McMath or number 84 who showed up late in the game last week making a couple of good catches. Schoonmaker, our tight ends, John Stevens. Some of those guys will get better looks if the quarterback has a cleaner pocket to work from and trusts what he's seeing. So I look for to see some things from some of those guys as well. But that's pretty much it. I'll probably drop a short episode just before kickoff tomorrow. I'll definitely be on after kickoff to break down what we saw. If you like the video, hit the like, subscribe. Love you guys. Share the video with whoever you want. Also, just so you know, you can also follow me at Knockers on the Bottom at Twitter. That just got up and running today, so I'll be tweeting some stuff out from what I see during the game, some instant reactions and things like that, and look forward to interacting with you guys as well. There's also an email if you want to submit questions, and we can kind of do, a little mailbag and kind of answer those questions. I'll take the questions via Twitter. I'll take the questions via email. The email is knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, that's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. On Twitter, you can follow me, Knockers on the Bottom. My @ is JMill, J Miller if you like. So JAYMILLERIYL. So if you like. But that's it. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Miller if you like. See you tomorrow. Peace.